Chevy has built some of the greatest engines in automotive history. They have also built some absolute junk that should never have left the factory. General Motors spent $150 million in lawsuit settlements because one engine ate itself alive, and that engine is still sitting inside millions of trucks right now. Worst number 1, the Chevy Vega 2.3-liter inline 4. If you want to know what happens when GM tries to build something cheap and fast, look at the Vega. This little 4-cylinder came out in the early 70s, and the idea behind it was actually interesting. Lightweight aluminum block, meant to compete with Japanese imports and the Ford Pinto. On paper, it sounded like progress. In practice, it was a complete disaster. GM built this aluminum block without steel cylinder liners. So the cylinder walls wore down faster than brake pads on a New York City taxi. By 30,000 miles, these things were burning a quart of oil between every fill-up. By 50,000 miles, you were looking at blue smoke pouring out the exhaust like a barbecue pit on a Saturday afternoon. The blocks would warp from overheating because aluminum without proper reinforcement just cannot handle sustained heat. And GM knew it. In 1974, Chevy quietly sent notices to about 1.3 million Vega owners saying they would cover engine damage caused by overheating under warranty. I personally think this is the worst engine Chevy ever made, and I do not think it is even close. If you ever see a Vega at a car show still running its original engine, check the VIN. Someone probably swapped in a Toyota 4-cylinder or a small block V8 because nobody in their right mind kept the factory motor. But the Vega is ancient history. This next engine is still ruining people's weekends right now. Worst number 2, the GM 3.6-liter V6. This engine is everywhere. Chevy put it in the Traverse, the Equinox, the Camaro, the Colorado, and a bunch of Buick and GMC models too. And the 3.6 has one big problem that makes me lose sleep for the people who own them: the timing chain. These timing chains stretch like a rubber band over time, and when they finally skip or snap, the whole engine is done. I had a customer bring in a Traverse with about 85,000 miles on it. The timing chain had stretched so far that the engine was throwing misfire codes everywhere. The repair estimate was north of $3,000 for that job on a Traverse with 85,000 miles. The timing chain is not the only issue. These 3.6-liter engines also burn oil, ruin water pumps, build up carbon on the intake valves, and throw random cylinder misfires. I have talked to other mechanics who call it a full-time employment engine because there is always something going wrong with it. If you are looking at a used Chevy with this engine, get the maintenance records. If the timing chain was never replaced and the odometer is past 70,000, walk away from that deal. Now here is the one that is going to make some of you angry in the comments. Worst number 3, the 5.3-liter Vortec with active fuel management, 2007 through 2014. Before the comment section explodes, let me be clear. The 5.3 is not a bad engine. The block itself is solid, the architecture is proven. But General Motors took a perfectly good engine and bolted a ticking time bomb onto it called Active Fuel Management, AFM. Active Fuel Management is a fuel-saving system that shuts down 4 of the 8 cylinders under light throttle, so your Silverado can pretend to be a 4-cylinder for a few seconds on the highway. To make this work, General Motors installed 16 specialized collapsible lifters inside the engine. And these lifters are the problem. They collapse when they are not supposed to. When a lifter collapses incorrectly, it bends the pushrod. The bent pushrod chews up the cam lobe, and now you are looking at a complete top-end rebuild that costs between $3,000 and $5,000 depending on the shop. And that is just the mechanical side of it. The oil consumption problem makes the whole thing even worse. On top of the lifter problems, these engines also had defective piston rings that caused oil consumption of up to a quart every 1,000 to 2,000 miles. That is insane for a truck engine. General Motors eventually paid out around $150 million in lawsuit settlements over this. These engines went into the Silverado, the Tahoe, the Suburban, the Yukon, basically every full-size General Motors vehicle that families and contractors depend on. The frustrating part is that General Motors knew about the AFM issues for years and kept using the system anyway. I have pulled lifters out of these engines that looked like they went through a meat grinder. The way this failure shows up is sneaky. It starts with a faint tick on cold startup that goes away after a minute. Owners hear it, Google it, and find some forum post from a guy saying it is just normal piston slap, so they ignore it. 6 months later, that tick turns into a constant knock, and by then the cam lobes are already chewed up. I cannot tell you how many times a Silverado owner has sat in my waiting room looking at a $4,000 estimate and saying, "I thought it was just a cold start noise." If you are truck shopping and you find a Silverado from this era, the first thing I would do is check if someone already deleted the AFM system with an aftermarket kit. If they did, you might actually have a solid truck. If they did not, budget for that repair because it is coming. But Chevy is not all bad news. For every engine they got wrong, they built at least one that is still running decades later. Best number one, the 4.3-liter Vortec V6. This is one of the most underrated engines GM ever built, and it does not get nearly enough credit. The 4.3 is basically a small block V8 with 2 cylinders chopped off. Same bore and stroke as the legendary 350, just running on 6 instead of 8. That means it inherited all the durability and simplicity of the small block platform without the extra weight and fuel cost. You will find this engine in the S10 pickup, the Astro van, the Express van, and even marine applications where reliability is not optional. Fleet companies ran these things into the ground, and they kept running. I worked on an Express van that had a 4.3 with over 260,000 miles on the original engine. No rebuild, no major repairs, just oil changes and basic maintenance. The owner used it as a delivery van in Phoenix, Arizona. Summer heat, stop and go traffic, heavy loads in the back. That engine did not care, it just kept going. Parts are dirt cheap and available at every auto parts store in America. If you need a reliable V6 powered Chevy and you do not need the towing capacity of a V8, find one with a 4.3 and hold on to it. But if we're talking about legendary Chevy engines, there is one that sits above everything else. Best number two, the small block Chevy 350 V8. This is the engine that built Chevy's reputation. The first generation small block 350 debuted in the 1967 Camaro and went on to power everything from Corvettes to Silverados to Suburbans to boats. It ran in production from 1967 all the way to 1992. That is 25 years in continuous production, and there is a reason for that. It is dead simple. Pushrod design, cast iron block, no computers, no variable valve timing, no cylinder deactivation, nothing fancy to break. Just a solid V8 that makes good power and refuses to quit. I have personally seen 350 small block engines with over 300,000 miles still running on original bottom ends. The parts availability for this engine is unlike anything else in the industry. You can walk into any auto parts store in the country and find rebuild kits, gaskets, bearings, everything you need on the shelf. And rebuilding one costs a fraction of what any modern engine costs to repair. You can do a full rebuild on a 350 in your garage over a weekend with hand tools and a basic engine stand. Try doing that with a modern direct injection V8. You will be drowning in sensors, wiring harnesses, and computer modules before you even get the intake manifold off. The 350 does not care about any of that. It just wants oil, fuel, and spark. Some guys say the LS is the better engine, and from a technology standpoint, they are right. But the original 350 earned its place through decades of proof that no modern engine can match yet. If you have not seen our video on the full history of the small block Chevy, go find that one on the channel because it is worth your time. If you have been picking up what I am putting down and you want more content like this, hit subscribe. I cover Chevy engines, trucks, and maintenance tips every week so you can keep your truck running without going broke. But there is one V8 sitting in junkyards right now that might actually be more reliable than the 350. and almost nobody knows about it. Best number 3, the 4.8-liter Vortec V8. Everybody talks about the 5.3. Nobody talks about the 4.8, and that is exactly why it belongs on this list. The 4.8 shares the same Generation 3 and Generation 4 small block platform as the 5.3. Same architecture, same basic layout, same reliability DNA. But there is one critical difference. The 4.8 never got active fuel management, AFM. No collapsible lifters, no cylinder deactivation, none of the headaches that plague the AFM-equipped 5.3. It is a shorter stroke version that makes a little less power, but it operates under less mechanical stress, and that makes it last even longer. These engines regularly crack 250,000 to 300,000 miles with nothing more than oil changes and a water pump around 150,000 miles. When one does finally die, you can grab a replacement from a junkyard for around $500 because nobody thinks to look for them. I personally think the 4.8 is the most underrated V8 that GM has ever produced. It will never win a magazine cover or turn heads at a car show, but it does the one thing a truck engine is supposed to do. It shows up to work every single day, and it does not complain. If you find a Silverado 1500 or an Express van with a 4.8 under the hood, you found a deal. Best number 4, the 5.3-liter Vortec from 1999 to 2006. Yeah, I just put the 5.3 on the worst list, and now I'm about to put it on the best list too. The pre-active fuel management 5.3 is a completely different animal than the 2007 and later version. The Generation 3 5.3 that came out in 1999 had none of the garbage that ruined the later version. No cylinder deactivation, no collapsible lifters, and no fuel management system trying to outsmart physics. It was just a clean, well-engineered small block V8 that made good power and drank a reasonable amount of fuel for its size. This engine came in 4 versions. 2 of them used cast iron blocks and 2 used aluminum. Every single one of them is still praised by mechanics and owners for being dirt cheap to maintain and absolutely bulletproof in the long run. But don't just take my word for it. Let me tell you what I've seen firsthand. There is a reason you still see 2002 and 2003 Silverados on the road everywhere. That Generation 3 5.3 just does not quit. I've seen them go well past 300,000 miles with nothing but regular oil changes. A buddy of mine runs a small landscaping company, and his entire fleet is early 2000 Silverados with the 5.3. He beats on those trucks every single day, loads them down with mulch and equipment, and the only engine work he's ever done is replacing a water pump on one of them at 200,000 miles. That is what a properly designed truck engine looks like. The irony is that General Motors had a perfect engine and then decided to strap a fuel saving system onto it that ended up costing owners thousands in repairs. If you are shopping for a used Chevy truck or SUV and you want the 5.3, stay with the 1999 to 2006 models. Skip the active fuel management era. Your wallet will thank you for it. The biggest takeaway here is simple. Chevy knows how to build a great engine. They have proven it over and over for decades. But when they start adding complexity to chase fuel economy numbers, things go sideways fast. Stick with the simple stuff, keep up on your oil changes, and your Chevy will outlast the loan payments by a long shot. Now here is the thing, even if you have one of the good engines on this list, there is a common maintenance mistake that is slowly choking your engine's power right now, and you probably have no idea it is happening. I made a whole video on how to fix it and bring your Chevy engine back to running like new. Go watch that one right now before your next oil change, because what you don't know about this is costing you money every single mile.